his ability to show that the human race is, there's interconnection, there's innate sameness. I'm going to endorse the words of that late MP Joe Cox. Our similarities are more than our difference, and he encapsulates that so well.
We asked people linked to Birmingham and the West Midlands to respond to 3 Shakespeare quotes. Each quote was taken out of context. We asked them to tell us what it meant to them. Here is how people responded to our second quote.
It is not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves. For me, this quote is about having the confidence to make difficult decisions. I think it's easy to avoid hard questions or choices that we know will lead to some form of upheaval in our personal lives, whether for good or for bad. By doing nothing, we hope the choice will be made by someone else, or perhaps never be confronted at all. I know I've done that in the past. I've realised since then that the only way to progress is to take responsibility and make that difficult decision myself. Because if I don't, I won't progress, or gain closure, or find the answer to a question that I needed answering. That's what this quote means to me.
I have a lot of mixed feelings about this quote. I'm not religious, I don't have any faith. I've got a background in science, and I actually really love the idea that we just have one life. The chances that we have that life are so incredibly small and specific, yet we have it, you're given it, do what you want with it, and it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. I think that's beautiful, and I resent the idea that that's inherently less romantic than anything else. I think it is, just in a different way. I also think it's a very powerful statement in terms of not being complacent. I think me and many other people, I think it's quite a human thing. I dream of things for my life and I want things, but how often do I actually materially do anything about it? Those things won't just fall in your lap. But I think the sentiment of that quote is so almost correct. And I think, when taken to an extreme, that quote could end up maybe saying, you didn't get what you want, so you didn't try hard enough, which is not always true and can actually be sort of strangely callous.
That made me think of the need to take responsibility, take action, the idea of being active rather than being passive, that belief in a higher power will only take you so far, irrespective of whether you are religious or not, but also the importance of being present. So taking joy and being grateful for positive things that happen to you. I have a gratitude journal and I fill that out every week and that helps with me. So yeah, being present.
Do you believe in luck, or do you believe that sometimes you just happen to be in the right place at the right time? Some people seem to ride a wave of good fortune, but is it more that they have invested time in working out what they are meant to do and who they are meant to be, and are simply better at recognising an opportunity? Many people waste time and energy railing against external things, which seem to conspire against them. But is it better to regroup, to reconsider, to try another tack?
We've got to go out there and do stuff ourselves and not wait for the stars it's not the stars that to hold our destiny by ourselves. It's giving power to me, isn't it? To go out there, go do your thing, and you'll be all right, Don't wait for things to fall into place for you, because they won't.
Yeah, I think we have full control of our lives, and we have knowledge, we have power to do what we want. It's in our hands and not in anybody else's.
What a powerful sentiment to own. You own your own destiny. It's not written down, it's not predetermined for better or worse, but you can take the reins. You can decide what you do and how you do it, and your behaviour and your actions will shape the course of your journey. What a lovely, empowering message there.
This quote reinvigorates me because it makes me feel like I have control. Especially these past few years, so much has felt out of reach and so much has felt intangible and things that we can't control. And I think one of the most frustrating things is when you can't control something, especially if it's something that's important to you. But this quote reminds me that nothing is destined, nothing is fated. There is no script out there in the universe that has everything set in stone for me, that I can make those decisions, that I can forge my path, that I can make my own way if I have the will within me.
This is a particularly important quote for me. On a day-to-day basis, I often find myself thinking about the future and seek some inevitable destiny that must be written in the stars. However, this quote reminds me that such reflections mean nothing. Ultimately, it is only through my own spirit and drive that future me can be shaped. It is only by truly looking at myself, by looking inwards, that I can find who I really am and who I can eventually become.
For me, or I mean, like, I'm a fighter, I'm a warrior, I can do this. But what he's saying to me, no matter what happening around me, how difficult it is, you can do it. You can do it. Just have to be brave enough. Never give up.
It spoke to me personally, it spoke to me in my profession, it spoke to me as a human being, just reading it. It made me feel rejuvenated. It made me feel resilient, that I have control. And I think that that is a message that people, especially now, sorely need to hear. That, sure, a lot of control has been ripped from us because of the time that we're in. And that is something that had to happen. But I think to still know that you have control, you have power, you have agency, is something that is always reassuring to know.
He doesn't like horoscopes, is what I'm taking from that. And it's good. Because it's great, this idea that actually nothing's decided, nothing's like, fate isn't real, and you just you do it or you don't do it, and it's you, and it's up to us. And that's really, yeah, very empowering, but also very a lot of pressure. Then there's no reason not to do it except me. Like, I'm the only thing standing in my way. No. But also it does make me cross, because yeah, fate isn't real, but circumstances are. Like, you know, privilege is real. Things happen in your life and you can't help them, and that is your destiny. Or maybe it's not your destiny, I don't know.
We place a lot of importance on astrology and stars aligning, and a lot of Shakespeare's plays talk about the universe, the stars, and sort of everything that's up there. And quite often you can focus too heavily on your path and what you think is supposed to happen in the future, and what you kind of expect to happen because you believe that it's already aligned for you. But quite often you need to focus on the present and the now, and stay true to yourself and not what you think the universe is telling you to do. You got to really lead every decision with yourself, and the universe will work everything else out.
I really love this. Shakespeare saying, no, you don't have to accept the lot in your life. It isn't someone or somewhere else that set it up. You, yourself, can change your destiny. You can do that. But also, if you do something, you take responsibility for it. It's no good saying, oh, well, it's down to something else. It's about you. It's inside you. What do you want your destiny to be?
I really take this to mean that nothing is set in stone. There is no concrete path laid out for us, that the person that we want to become is entirely down to us, and we have it within ourselves to become that person. So I find this quite a reassuring quote. I guess it also means that we're each accountable to that person. Every choice, every course of action that we take is going to shape them, going to shape us.
When I hear this quote, I see the silhouettes of two people on a grassy hill looking out at millions of stars. And I think it really speaks to someone like me in their early 20s, a new adult who's coming to realise that the power to make choices and to act is something entirely my own responsibility, when maybe in the past or as a child you could replace the word stars with parents or teachers.
Taken in quite a literal sense, sometimes we might look to the skies and ponder, where is my life going? Where will I be in 10 years' time? Whom will I be with? It's funny because as we do that, really what we're doing, I think, is looking more so inwards than outwards, an act of introspection, although such thoughts are stimulated by the world.
I really love this quote because it reminds me of the power of the individual. Sometimes when we face adversity or obstacle, it's really easy to forget we have the power within us to change the course of our lives. This really inspires me and motivates me because it reminds me that if I want to do anything, I have the power to do that myself. There's no set plan or path that is out there for me. I have to create that myself. I have agency and I have power.
Now, this one I think is true, and I find it both exciting and depressing in equal measure. Because when things are going badly, then it means that I have no one to blame but myself, and there's no plan set out against me to make things bad. But at the same time, when things are good, then it's down to me.
My initial thought was very straightforward. Our fate is in ourselves. If you work hard, if you're a kind person, then good things will happen. But then I think, well, actually, that's not true. I worked really hard in school and I did well. And then when I was about 17, I failed something for the first time and I was gutted. And I had that sudden realization, I can work really, really hard for something and still fail. And that just upset the whole apple cart. Like, what do I do? Is this going to keep happening to me? And then I think about some of my friends in my life that have had that all through their lives, maybe from the time they were born. So many examples of things in their lives when they could have done everything perfectly. They could have been the kindest, most wonderful person, and it could still have gone terribly wrong. So this quote makes me feel quite frustrated, actually, if I think about it for longer. And I can understand why so many people don't live like that. They prefer to think that there's somebody or something out there that's got this plan for them. And I think it must be hugely comforting. I don't have that in my life, but I can see why other people would.
I like this quote. I think it speaks to the value of human beings, to the worth of people. Like, people matter so much. Like, when we get together, we can do some really special things. We can fight injustice. We can move mountains. We can make the world a better place. I don't think it's anything that's beyond our grasp. It's not something that's up in the stars. I genuinely think that you and I and people who are determined, we can make the world a better place. We can do it.